Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can probably see, I have a different background today. I had to move to a different room to film because downstairs was just a bit too noisy. I had tried to film this video before and the footage like corrupted, so I literally had to start all over again. It was so irritating. Had to recharge my camera, all of that shit. It's literally 9 o'clock right now, so bro. Don't tell me yeah, that like, I don't love my subscribers because bro, I'm literally doing the most to try and get this content out. As you can see by the title, today we are going to be doing a Love is Blind review. We're going to be reviewing the first 5 episodes, I believe, of this season. Just wanted to also say, guys, I'm so sorry that I didn't upload last week. I got a cold. First started off as like a sore throat, then I got a runny nose, a sneeze, and it just wasn't, yeah, I was looking really messy and all of that, and I was just like, bro, there's no way I can be on camera. I promise you guys, during that time I was coming up with video ideas, all of that. So I have got quite a few video ideas in the vault right now. You guys also ran up my last video of me doing Am I Overreacting, the subreddit. You guys ran up that video. Thank you very much for everyone who liked the video. You guys seem to like that series a lot, so I'm going to continue doing that. I will be posting another part probably next week. And also you guys did run up that 2B film reaction as well. That video is also doing really well, so I'm planning to do another one too. If you guys have any films that you know on 2B that you want me to react to, whatever, just let me know in the comments down below. If you have any other video ideas for me as well that you want me to do, just let me know. Like guys, literally I promise there's not like anything specific that I'm trying to, you know, really do on my channel. Like I'm really open to like whatever ideas it is that you might want me to do. If you want me to do show reviews, movie reviews, things like that, I can do it. Like like I really be doing all types of things. Like if you guys like this video as well, you want me to do another part, make sure you like the video. If you want me to do another review for the next few episodes that come out, like the video. Just, you know, engage with me. But yeah, we're gonna get straight into it. So to avoid having to make myself do loads of editing, because I quite frankly trying to screenshot each picture of each cast member and put it on the screen as I'm talking is a lot of work. I actually have the screenshots here of each cast member, so I'm just gonna show you lot as I'm doing it, but I've got it on here, so I'll just show it to the picture to the camera of who I'm talking about. So first off, I'm gonna be honest guys, I wrote my notes. It's kind of a bit all over the place. It was literally in chronological order of what was happening in the show. I wrote notes as it was happening. So if I'm kind of going back and forth between certain couples or topics, things like that, that's because I was literally just doing it based upon what was happening at the screen as I was watching. So first I'm gonna get into, I don't want to say the most boring couple, but just because of, you know, efficiency and time purposes, I don't want to leave it to the end. I can just get it out of the way now. First, I want to talk about Joey and Monica. So this is Joey here. That's his picture. And then got Monica here. So they had basically been connecting since day one. They have a good vibe going so far. Seems like they're doing well. Quite frankly, when they were on the screen, I wasn't really paying attention that much. I'll be honest. I don't really care too much. Their conversations were just kind of like, eh. That's another theme that you also notice as well. This season isn't particularly that interesting. The conversation in the pods was honestly quite boring. Like I'm giving you lot like the short rundown version of it, but it's just not very entertaining this season, unfortunately. Is what it is. This couple in particular, they seem to be cute, fine, whatever. I just personally didn't really find them that interesting. I also found them kind of overstimulating. Like they both have very like big personalities, or you know, they're both very quiet, you know, very loud, I don't know. So it was kind of a bit overstimulating for me a little bit to watch them both together, but they seem to match each other's vibe all right. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about them. There's not really too much to talk about when it comes to them, but yeah. So next people that I want to talk about is a love triangle that's been happening this season. And actually the main theme for this season honestly is love triangles. Like there is two love triangles in this season that they focus on in the pods. And their first love triangle that I want to talk about is between Molly, David, and Lauren. So I'm gonna show the pictures. This is Molly, redhead girl. Then we've got Lauren, and finally we've got David. um I was literally watching this season and I was like, David, like his face reminds me so much of somebody, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And I was like trying to tell my sister, I'm like, he looks so much like somebody, like one, like the white man that I've seen before. Like, who is it? Like somebody who I've seen recently. And then it finally clicked to me, he looks like JD Vance. Like he literally looks like JD Vance. And that was one thing that irked me the entire time watching this season, that he looked like JD Vance, and it scared me. Like like it scared me. I'm sorry, because why do you look so much like him? Like the same kind of face template, all of that. And I'm not even gonna lie, to a certain extent it was a red flag to me. Yeah, it was. Maybe that sounds a bit illogical to certain people, but it was a red flag to me. I was like, that's not a good start. The fact that I think you look like JD Vance. We're gonna get into this whole love triangle, right? Because I have a lot to say about this love triangle. So first off, in terms of David and Lauren, but this is Lauren and then David. But in terms of them, I honestly just do not see the chemistry between them. And honestly, even with him and Molly too, the redhead, I don't see the chemistry with any. Like with any, I don't see the chemistry at all. Like I'm very confused honestly as to why both of them are so enthralled with him. Because quite frankly, if I had to describe David and his personality on this season, he quite literally is just a walking red flag. Like he's a walking red flag. And the thing is as well, I can't even fault him that much for necessarily being like deceptive or anything, because he is upfront from the jump about what kind of person he is. He literally lets both of them know. Like one of the first things that he says when he gets into the pods, when he's, you know, talking to each woman, because that's the premise of the show, right? You date blind, whatever. Every time he would go in, he would ask one of them, oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you here? As like a thing of like, oh, you know, what is it about you that people don't like, that they don't want to stay with you? And it's like, first off, very bold of you to assume that everyone here is just somebody who has, you know, they have something that repels people from them. And also, who says that you're not a problem too? Who says that there's not something wrong with you? And you know the funniest thing is, there was something wrong with you. There is something wrong with you, because you admit it yourself. You yourself knew you couldn't come in to this experience and not be honest about who you were. So it's like, it's very funny for him to come in with that approach. Whole time it was a self-drag. It was a self-drag. And you know that another thing that he drags himself with is a joke that he makes towards Lauren in like their first conversation in the pods. He says to her, like, because he asks her, how old are you? She says she's 31. And he replies being like, oh, so you're not as good looking anymore, something like that. Basically just insinuating that because she's older, I don't know, I guess she's not in her prime anymore, something like that, which is just completely audacious. I mean, I'm not even gonna try and be too mean or, you know, empty the clip or whatever, but you man saw the picture of David. I showed you the picture. Very audacious of you, somebody who, you know, looks like JD Vance, for you to even insinuate that a woman somehow loses her value or is no longer attractive once she hits 30. Like, very weird. And also, if we're being honest, you yourself, you're like 33, and to me honestly, I thought you were 40 at least. Like, no shade, no shade, but that's how old I thought you were. So I'm very confused how you're talking about, you're, well, not even talking, you're just making ageist comments honestly as a joke. Because I'm sorry, you know, some people might watch it and think, oh yeah, he's clearly joking, whatever. To me personally, I think if you make a joke towards somebody's personhood like that, I feel like there's an underlying truth there. I don't think you can just be plain joking. There's motivation behind it. You don't just say it to say it. Like, that's what I feel like. So I feel like, yeah, you are ageist. And the reason why I think he has those types of toxic views is because he admits it himself. He says in the pods, he's like, because he works in like the cosmetic surgery industry, like he works in cosmetics, things like that. So Botox, fillers, BBL, whatever, all that stuff. You are used to seeing women to do all these procedures, all of these things to basically stop the aging process, to make themselves look younger, youthful, all these things. And he admits it himself in the pods. He's like, oh yeah, my type has been heavily influenced by the industry that I work in. I'm used to being around fillers and Botox, so I have a very artificial type. And it's just like, you literally, like, it's self-admittance right there. So that joke to me wasn't a joke, because provided the added context of how he views women, like physically and in terms of beauty standards, things like that, I don't see it as a joke. You probably do see women who are in their 30s and probably do think that, which is quite concerning, honestly. And another thing that also made me very, very scared of this man is the fact that he admitted to cheating in his past, which, red flag upon red flag. This man is just an entire red billboard. Like, I've been said it. It's not even a red flag. It's a billboard, and it's loud, which is why it's very big and loud and gigantic. And I'm just very confused as to why none of the women, both of them, Holly and Lauren, why none of them seem to be worried at all. Because I'm sorry, I would hear one thing and I would run in the other direction. Like, I'm so confused. He basically admits to being a cheater, and he also talks about how he, in his past relationships, he didn't treat women well at all. So the entire time I was watching it, I was literally just thinking, is he gonna say a single positive thing about himself? Like, is there anything actually endearing good about you, or is everything you're gonna tell us just bad? Because all I took away from it was bad, bad, bad. The bad was outweighing the good, and I don't even know if that was good, because I'll be honest, I probably wasn't even listening that well. But when I was listening, all I was hearing was bad things. So it's like, I'm very confused. I was very confused the entire time, and I honestly feel like both of these women are probably physically not even his type. That's the maddest thing. These two are basically crashing out behind this guy, right? Especially Lauren. Lauren was crashing out hella fast over this guy. Whole time this guy probably, he probably wouldn't even be attracted to either you two. Like, that's the maddest thing. That's the sickest thing about this entire thing. Like, this man is not in either of these women's leagues, I'll be honest. He's not, but here we are. And also another thing that I was saying before in relation to the fact that I'm confused as to why they both are gravitating towards him is because in Lauren's picture, wait, actually, let me show it. Literally at the top of her thing, her quote here, like for what she's looking for, it says, "I have high expectations of the person I want to be with." Is the high expectations in the room with us? Please show me, please direct me to where the high expectations is. High expectations and David in the same sentence. The two continents do not meet, and they never will. I'm very confused. Like, this is another theme that I noticed throughout this season as well. It's hella women who are talking about having high standards while you're with doo-doo garbage. Like, that man that you're next to, he's doo-doo garbage. Like, that's why, like, at this point we should call the season Doo-doo is Blind, because I'm very confused. It's not love, it's foolishness, like, that I'm seeing. I'm very confused, and we will get into that when I'm talking about certain women, particularly Sarah. I'm gonna get on your case later. I don't like David. Lauren, honestly, I wanted to like you, but the fact that you are attracted to someone like David doesn't make me feel safe. Holly, I don't feel safe around you either. Same reason as Lauren. Why are you attracted to somebody like that? Very strange. Next love triangle that I want to get into is, okay, first is Mason, who is the guy who's supposed to be in the middle of the love triangle, I guess. Then we've got Meg, who is another woman who he connects with, and then another woman he connects with is Madison. So I'll be honest, I was watching this entire thing play out and I was honestly confused as to why Mason particularly seemed to like Madison more than Meg, because I was watching it thinking he has more chemistry with Meg, like clearly. I just honestly felt like majority of his conversations with Madison, it was mainly him. Like, I don't know, like him driving the conversation, him carrying the conversation. Not necessarily that Madison wasn't contributing, but you could tell that he was way more into it than Madison was. And the thing is, as well, you notice that because Madison is also connecting with another person called Alex, and you can just see the difference in the conversations that she has with Alex compared to Mason. Like, not that it comes across like Madison doesn't like Mason, but she clearly isn't as interested in conversation with him as she is with Alex. That's just my personal opinion. You can tell that there are feelings involved when she's talking to Alex compared to Mason. Mason, I feel like that's also another thing that I noticed with Mason. He just avoids having any like serious conversation in the pods. That's also another problem with this season. Where was the like the actual serious conversations being had? Like, a lot of silly conversations like what's your favorite sex position and what's your favorite food, do you like truffle, da da da. Like, why are we talking about this? Like, hello, we're about to get married here. Like, why are we talking about some dumb things like this? Like, you have a whole lifetime to talk about stuff like that. Talk about what's actually really important. Talk about how you handle conflict. Talk about your attachment style. Talk about your love language. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, talk about things that actually are important. Like, I don't know, but that was another thing that I also noticed. But Mason, like, he kind of had like this I almost like to describe it as like Snapchat kind of method in the way he was talking to women. And when I mean Snapchat, anyone who's like Gen Z, whatever, if you ever went through like what's it, a talking stage, like when you were a teenager, the way the Snapchat combos would go during the talking stage is how Mason gave. Like, Mason gave what you doing, you're gonna go in the shower without me, da, da, da. Like, that's the energy that he gave. Like, I don't know, not very much charisma. I don't know, like it was just Snapchat convos to me, Snapchat convos, and I was just like, you're about to get married and like you're having these silly conversations about like shit that doesn't really actually matter. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I just wasn't really feeling Mason too much. That's probably also another reason why I thought that he should just get with Meg, because I personally liked Madison a lot and I was just like, Mason, this guy ain't for you. Like, he's not for you. Now, so let's get in further into the love triangle, which really turns into a love square because now it includes who Madison is also connecting with. But Madison, as I said before, she connects with a guy called Alex. This is what Alex looks like. So they start connecting, and I actually really liked their conversation that they had about like attachment styles and how they deal with conflicts, because that's actually like important stuff that you should talk about when you are discussing like be spending your life with each other. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, it's actually like refreshing to see these types of convos, because honestly majority of the pods this season, they weren't talking about shit. They weren't talking about important things that actually mattered. And even in past seasons as well, it's like a lot of the time they're just skirting around important conversations, like especially when relating to things like politics, which is another thing that we will get into in this video as well, because politics is finally brought up this season. And yeah, it's just like, I don't know if it's because the producers choose to do that, but they just like to leave out important conversations. It's just like, then you get to the later parts where they're at the honeymoon or doing their trial marriage, and it's like, why are we having these types of conversations that you should have had in the pods now? Like, but anyways, yeah, they were like having a conversation about their attachment styles, how they would deal with conflict and whatever, and it was really refreshing and I liked that. So more of that in the next seasons. But I did kind of get worried because I was like, I don't know if you like, because this has happened to me before where like you start off with someone like, I guess wanting to like like connect with them romantically, and like you guys end up, I don't know if it's necessarily trauma dumping or like you just always have really deep heavy conversations, and then you get to a point where you realize, wait, we can't actually like have fun together, and this isn't actually fun. Like, every time we talk it's just like like a really heavy or like depressing topic, and like, I don't know about you personally, but me, I need like a good balance. Like I need to be able to obviously have serious conversations with you, you know, you be able to listen to me when like I'm going through things or whatever. But at the same time, I also want to be able to have fun with you. Like we should be able to have fun. And I was kind of worried with them too. Like I'm like, is it gonna get to that point? Because every conversation that they seem to have is always like kind of heavy, or it gets heavy, especially because Madison, it talks a lot about her upbringing and things like that, because Alex asks about it. So it's like, I was just wondering, will they be able to, you know, actually like connect outside of that? Because I feel like we've seen it in past seasons, especially last season with Tim and Alec, the trauma bonding, almost like it doesn't actually create like a stable foundation for like a relationship at all. So I was like, I don't know, it could be a little bit shaky between them. Okay, so now we get on into later into the show, where we get to the decision time period, and Madison basically realizes that she prefers Alex. She wants to continue with Alex. She sees a future with Alex compared to Mason. And before this conversation that Madison has with Alex, where she breaks up with him, Alex sorry, not Alex, Mason. Sorry, I'm getting these man confused. You man, if you watch the show, yeah, you'll realize how difficult it is to not get these people mixed up. Like I was like multiple times trying to differentiate between two different people because I thought they were the same person. Like it's hella difficult. Okay, but anyways, Mason, she has this conversation with Mason, you know, before they break up, when they're in the pods, and Mason basically tells her in response, because Madison was like, basically was saying, I don't feel secure in our connection. I don't really feel like I know where you stand. And he basically just said in response, I'm committed to you. That's what he said. He's like, I'm committed to you. Like when I wake up in the morning, like you're the person who I think about. So basically saying that, almost insinuating that Madison is his number one in comparison to Meg. Madison's response to that wasn't really like, I guess, the response that Mason would have wanted. She was kind of just like, like I don't really know how to take that. And it was kind of just like an awkward thing that they had to kind of move forward from in the conversation. And then now we get into the time where Madison basically decides she wants to be with Alex, and she breaks up with Mason. And Mason, see, like you see in his face, he's like got instant regret. He's like, oh shit, I should have never said I was committed to her. Now she just broke up with me. Now I can't fall back on my second choice, basically. Because now he basically goes off to Meg and tries to basically backpedal and say, oh, I regret telling Madison that I was committed to her, things like that. And I'm like, you don't believe that. Like, even you don't believe that. You are saying that because you didn't get what you want. Like, you wanted to have your cake and eat it, because that's how Mason was honestly playing this entire thing, I'll be real. Before like Madison and Alex started really connecting, he was trying to like just play both sides. Like he was trying to get a feel of both and like have his cake and eat it, literally. And now that he didn't get what he wanted, because he tried to make a decision first and then Madison said, actually no, I don't want you. And then now he's like, oh shit, now I've gone from two girls to none. He's trying to basically fluff up Meg and like say, oh no, like you've always been my number one. Like even on the first day, I wrote a 10 next to your name. Like it's no one else has ever been like, you know, as high up as you are. Like you've been my number one, all this nonsense. And Meg is basically just telling him like, I don't believe you. Like I'll never know if what you're saying is true, because you didn't actually make the choice. The choice was made for you. Madison dropped you. So now you, of course, you come back here to me. So Meg basically rejected him and said, nah, I'm not going for that. And honestly, period, as she should. Because why should you be someone's second choice? Like personally, I think that a lot more girls in this show need to take the mentality of the Megs. Like being like, I'm not going to be your second choice. Like I want someone who's sure of me. And like at the end of the day, yeah, Mason, you should have been able to be sure, because I'm very confused how both Meg and Madison were on the same level for you, because those conversations were not on the same levels. But whatever. And I'll be honest as well, after this, even though I was happy that Madison picked Alex instead, or at least she rejected Mason, I wasn't necessarily sure if Madison was actually going to end up getting engaged by the end of the show, because I'll be honest, I got this vibe, and my sister was saying it too because we were watching the show together. She was saying like Madison gives the vibes that like she would be like 3 years into a marriage and start to feel unsure, and then she would like basically be like, nah, I want to cut it off, like I don't want to be in this marriage no more. And honestly, I kind of agree with her, because I just personally didn't get the vibe that like Madison actually really knows what she's like ready for. Like I feel like, because she even said it herself, Madison said it herself, that like she is now in an era of her life where she has a different outlook. You know, she wants better for herself, she wants good things for her life. To a certain extent, she's almost like in this new era of her life, like she needs to get used to being in healthy relationships, you know, loving herself, things like that. I feel like she almost thinks because now I'm healed, now I'm on this journey of like growth, that the next step is obviously marriage for me. And I feel like part of it is also influenced by the her upbringing, and her also wanting to have a family of her own, having a healthy family of her own, like because she didn't get to have one. That's how I honestly felt about Madison. I feel like she did make the right decision in the end, because her and Alex do not end up getting engaged, and I honestly think that that was the best decision, because Alex turns out to be a damn weirdo. And we're going to get into why he's a damn weirdo. Okay, so basically the reason why Alex becomes a damn weirdo and why him and Madison don't work out is basically because after the whole situation of Madison and Mason breaking up, Alex basically comes into the pods where Madison is, and he basically starts telling her, oh, you know, after your breakup, Mason came into the headquarters, and you know he was really upset, he was bummed, da da da. And basically Madison, just in response to Alex, she was like, well, I just feel like he kind of was disrespectful, like he kind of manipulated the situation a little bit, like he was dishonest, like because he wasn't honest about who was his number one, whatever. He kind of changed his however he felt based upon what his options were. And she was basically just saying like she doesn't like the fact that he did that, like it hurt her feelings, like he hurt her. And Alex's response to that was to say, oh, you know, but I feel like you're valid in your feelings, but he's also valid in his feelings. And do you know, one thing that I hate is a person who loves to ride the fucking fence. Somebody who can never just think for themselves, someone who can never actually assess a situation, like, because he got both sides right. You can't do that whole thing of, oh, I don't know both sides, because obviously, yeah, he wasn't there, but you've heard both people's perspectives. From that, you should be able to take away who here has done something wrong and who has, you know, you should just be able to detect what's gone wrong here after hearing both perspectives. No one is saying that you need to now hate Mason and be completely behind Madison, but you should be able to take away from the situation, hey, Madison just told me that Mason hurt her feelings, right? Like, my response should be, damn, I'm sorry he hurt your feelings, you don't deserve that. Not to try and validate his feelings and say, oh, he's valid, you know, because he was in love and he was confused. Like, she just told you that his confusion, him being in love and confused, that hurt her. That hurt her feelings. So I'm very confused how you think the appropriate response is to ride the fence. And I feel like another thing as well that a lot of people who like to ride the fence do, they do that because you refuse to engage with anything critically. You don't actually want to think about, who actually has a point here. You would rather just be like, yeah, you know, both sides, you guys make good arguments. Like, it's just, I'm sorry, like, not everything is a fucking both sides or a grey issue. Sometimes, yeah, it is black and white. Sometimes someone is in the wrong and sometimes someone is not. Like, do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if both Meg and Madison are saying they've been hurt by this situation that Mason created, by the way, they didn't do it, Mason did, how are you still gonna say that somehow Mason is a victim in this situation? He's just not. He's not. Like, I'm so confused. And the thing is as well, no one is even asking you to chastise him. They're just simply saying, hey, just like, it's literally Madison just saying, can you just acknowledge my feelings? Acknowledge my feelings and validate me. That's it. Like, she wasn't asking you for much. And the thing is, as well, throughout this conversation, he kept trying to, because Madison was saying, oh, I don't really like the fact that you're trying to validate him. Like, that's not really what I want to hear. Like, I just wanted you to, like, comfort me or whatever, understand where I'm coming from. And, like, Alex is just trying to do mental gymnastics to not understand what she's saying. And it's really irritating. And he somehow gets from that like Madison is bad at communication or whatever, or like, oh, this problem of communication like is something that, you know, worries me about our relationship. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? She literally just communicated with you very clearly, might I add, because honestly with me, I would have gotten like irritated at a certain point because I've made it pretty clear what it is that I think, how I feel, what you're doing that's irritating me, and you're still trying to, I don't know, you're still trying to do flipping cartwheels to not understand what I'm saying. Like, I would have just been like, okay, well, you don't want to understand what I'm saying, so what are we still talking about? What are we still talking about? Like, Madison was trying her best not to honestly, like, get angry to crash out. Like, that's why she was flipping tapping on her cup and the flipping notepad, because he was being annoying. Like, he was being annoying, honestly. Like, and he was trying to say, oh, yeah, you like, are you nervous? Like, you're tapping a lot. Why wouldn't she tap? You're now giving her anxiety for no reason. Like, why are you putting her on edge for no reason? Like, ugh. It was so irritating. Two women in this situation who have had their feelings hurt and have felt played, and your response is to just defend the man. Whole time, you weren't even there. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you talking about, bro? This whole conversation basically leads into Alex basically saying, oh, you know, I don't think I really see us getting, like, we're just not ready for marriage, like, we're not ready to get engaged, thing like something like that. And the funniest thing is, because throughout Alex and Madison's whole like pod conversations, things like that, Alex was constantly like, because they had a conversation about attachment styles and things like that, and Madison was basically just saying she's the type of person who is kind of avoidant, which is also me, who's like, sometimes they need to take a break, like they may need to just leave the situation and get away for a while if it gets too much, which I understand honestly. But Alex was basically saying he's been in relationships like that before, where he, you know, the person has left or whatever, and he basically just ends up feeling like abandoned or not good enough because he has more of like an anxious attachment style or whatever. And I was just like, you were sitting here trying to get, like, you were trying to get onto Madison about, you know, being this one who would abandon you or give up or leave. Whole time you were the one who ended up leaving. Like, you actually spoke it into existence, honestly, with how much you were talking about, oh, you know, what if if your relationship breaks down, da da da, all this stuff. You were the one who ended up leaving. You were the one who ended up breaking up. And whole time it was over, like, it wasn't, the conflict in question wasn't even that serious. Like, she actually clearly communicated very well with you what was irritating her, what she didn't like, what you were doing that hurt her feelings, and somehow for you still weren't able to put two and two together. Like, I don't know, you did two and two and you got seven. Like, I don't understand. But yeah, whatever. He was weird. He was weird, and honestly, I'm glad that he ended it, because Madison deserves better than that. He is a bloody weirdo. Like, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's go back to the first love triangle that I was talking about. David, Lauren, and Molly. So now we are at a point where David is starting to feel somewhat conflicted about who he should pick. And there is a specific conversation that they have after the pods, and Molly goes into the headquarters, the women's headquarters, and she basically starts boasting to everyone how, oh yeah, you know, I think he's the one, like, I'm really happy, da da da, he just validated me, da da da, all this stuff, basically insinuating that she's the one that's gonna get picked. And Lauren basically overhears this and she's like, what's going on? Like, because I didn't get that impression from the conversations I've had with David. And she's basically confused. Is like, is who's lying here? Like, someone is lying here. Like, either Molly is lying or David is lying. Like, someone is being told lies here. And basically Lauren and David go into the pods and have a conversation, and basically David just backtracks on whatever validation or whatever he said to Molly, to make her feel secure, so secure. He basically says, no, I didn't say any of that stuff, da, da, da. I never said she was my number one, da, 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 da. Like, you are my number one. He says that to Lauren. And I wrote in my notes here, I was like, David is honestly fluffing Lauren up about how he feels about her, because he just doesn't, he either doesn't want to pick somebody yet, or I don't know, he is like, to me, watching David, it was like, he was just kind of going wherever the wind blew. Like, I didn't really understand who was his number one, who he liked more, whatever. It was pretty ambiguous to me, because like throughout that whole conversation he wasn't really trying to say outwardly that like, oh, you're the one I want to be with, you're the one I want to marry. So it's like he was kind of still leaving it ambiguous. It's like, if you're not confused, if you're sure if she's your number one, then why don't you just marry her? Leave Molly. Leave Molly and just marry Lauren and be done. Like, I don't get it. Why are we still going through this whole thing if you're not confused? There's no confusion here. That's why I'm like, it doesn't make sense. So basically, after all of that, he basically gets to a point where like, he's like, okay, I think I want to be with Lauren instead. Like, I don't want to be with Molly no more. So basically David ends up going into the pods with Molly, and he basically starts trying to slowly let her down or break up with her. But the weirdest thing is, he doesn't actually do it himself. He basically leads the conversation into Molly doing it for him, and it's just very strange. Basically he just leads Molly to be like, well, it sounds like you don't really, like, you're not really sure about me anymore, you don't really want to be with me anymore. And basically she's just like, well, if that's how you feel, then I don't really want to be with someone like that. So he basically gets her to do the breakup for him. And I also noticed, because my sister pointed out, as soon as Molly said, I think like should we just end it, like we should just end it, he immediately stops crying. Like, he's not crying anymore. So it's like I'm so confused. Like, where did all these tears and, oh, my sister, where did that, like, I don't know, it just felt very manipulative. He feels very like fake. Like, David feels very fake. He's just weird. I don't understand his thing. I don't get it at all. Yeah, I don't, yeah, no. It's just no, because no. Now let's get into the next couple that we're going to be talking about, which is Ben. This is what Ben looks like, and Sarah. That's what Sarah looks like. So Ben and Sarah, they basically had been talking in the pods for a while. They didn't really show them too much until the later episodes, but basically Sarah basically expresses to Ben that she she really values like social issues and activism, things like that, because ever since George Floyd was murdered in 2020, she's basically been like outspoken about these problems, and she cares about these issues. She's also very openly like an ally of LGBT because her sister's gay, things like that. So she was basically just telling Ben that, and she was like, this stuff is really important to me, so I need to be with someone who cares about it. And Ben's response to that is basically like, because she asked him like, oh, what do you think about like Black Lives Matter, things like that, and he basically just says like, oh, like, I just keep out of it, like, I don't get involved. And then she asked him, oh, did you vote in the last election? He was like, no, I didn't vote because, at the end of the day, it's not really going to affect my life either way. Like, it doesn't affect me. And I just thought, yikes, like, yikes on a bike. Like, yikes on a bike. Like, imagine being with someone that's that insanely like ignorant and like privileged to be like, oh yeah, I don't really care about like voting and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't affect me anyways. Like, it's so crazy because in the last election, hello, bro, the in the last election, did you see the Orange Man's campaign? Like, bro, he was out, coming out swinging out the gate, trying to knock everybody out, every damn person in America except a white man. And this guy is talking about like he was literally just playing with his nails while it was happening. I don't care. Like, that's insane. And she was basically like, oh, I don't like those answers, da da da. And then he basically tried to quell it by, like, in another conversation, he tried to quell it with like saying, oh, but I would 100% go to Pride, because she asked him like, oh, would you go to Pride, things like that. He'd be like, yeah. In the conversation of like him trying to propose to her, right, he was basically trying to say like, oh yeah, I want to show to you though that like I'm for like those causes, or like that I believe in the same things you believe, that we're aligned. He was basically like, he said it himself, he was like, oh, I'm not a bro, sorry, the dog outside is making hella noise. But he was basically saying, oh, I'm like a show person, not tell, whatever that means. I don't know how exactly I don't know how exactly you can show you support a cause instead of not saying, like, showing vocal support. I don't get how that works. Like, I don't know how you can show that like, it just doesn't make sense. Part of supporting a movement or being part of, caring for certain social issues, things like that, activism, a large part of it is using your voice, speaking, engaging, talking. Like, you don't just pop up to Pride and be like, yeah, rolling with the LGBT, and then any sort of other issues, when trans youth are being ended, or I don't know, they start they revoke same-sex marriage or something like that, you being silent or whatever, like, that don't cut it. Like, I don't know what you think that means. Like, it's just very strange, and I feel like, not gonna lie, it was a very typical, like, ignorant white guy answer. I'm not even gonna lie, because I don't know what exactly that means. Like, oh, because you go to Pride now, yeah, you stood up for the rights. Like, I don't get it. Like, that's like you going to, like, I don't know, like a Black History Month like party or whatever, and then when like another black person is killed by the police, you're silent, you don't say anything. What exactly is that supposed to do for anyone? Like, it's not funny, but it's funny. Like, I just don't get it. And he said it with so much confidence. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I'm a show not tell person. Like, okay. Like, you don't even have any fundamental understanding of what being an ally or activism, you don't know what that is. You don't know what it is. You wouldn't know it if it slapped you across the face. But anyways. But yeah, they end up getting engaged, which was kind of disappointing, honestly, because Sarah, you said you are someone who stands on business, you stand on your morals. Why are you getting with this ignorant ass white man? And again, it's another thing that keeps happening this season. It's the falling in love with potential. He's telling you, oh yeah, I will show you, I will show you, I will show you, but he can't tell you now that he is that person. He says, oh, I will show you that I'm that person. No, I want to know right now that you're that person. Why? Like, I just don't understand why no one on this season, no one stands on business. The only person who stood on business was Meg. The only person who stood on business was Meg. Like, I just don't get it. I won't be talking about them too long. The last one is gonna be Devin. This is Devin, Virginia, and then the third person who's kind of in the love triangle but not really, Brittany. So this one, basically, for me, I was rooting for Devin and Brittany at first because I thought they had a better connection. I just feel like Devin and Virginia just don't give very much. I didn't see the connection. That's another theme throughout majority of this season, is the connection in the room with us. I'm just very confused. Like, I don't know, I'm not seeing the sparks. There's no sparks. I'm not seeing it. Maybe the producers, they're just not putting in the correct footage, but I just don't see, I'm not seeing the vision. I didn't see the vision for Devin and what's her name, Virginia. I just didn't see the vision at all. I was quite confused. But yeah, I thought him and Brittany, they seemed to have a cute thing going. They had a lot of stuff in common, whatever. So I was like happy that they were getting along. Then a conversation happens where Brittany basically starts opening up about how she has like had or she's dated or she's had I can't remember if she said dated or had experiences with women, so it sounds like she's bisexual. And I guess to Devin, I don't know, maybe he's not cool with that, or I don't know, he just doesn't go for that, I don't know. But I think after she revealed that, their conversation wasn't like, their connection was never really the same. Like it kind of was just off after that, and it kind of fizzled out, unfortunately. So they didn't really end up going anywhere. So now Devin and also another thing as well, when Brittany was talking about her sexuality or whatever, things like that, to me it honestly sounds like she is pansexual, or just like she's just unlabeled, I don't know, because she was basically saying, like, to me it sounded like she just doesn't care about whatever gender the person she's with is, she just cares about their character. So that sounded like pansexual to me, but it's not my business. So now moving on to Devin and Virginia. I'm gonna be honest, again, I said it anyways, I just don't see the vision. I think mainly the reason why is because of Virginia. I just can't sniff her out. I can't, like, I just can't get a reading on what her vibe is. Like, I don't know. And there was one thing that she said in the pods that stood out to me. She said that she's never been with a quote unquote nice guy. To me that translated as, you probably have a toxic type in men, and I feel like that is usually a red flag. I'll be honest, like, girls who usually always end up in toxic relationships, toxic situations, either you like toxicity because you're used to it in your regular life, or you are toxic yourself, because I feel like whatever you gravitate towards, you have some sort of familiarity with, whether it's you are the same as that person or you are familiar with that type of thing, because you sway towards it regularly. So I feel like either way, if you constantly end up in toxic situations with toxic people, it's not a good look. And yeah, I just didn't like it. I was like and it also kind of worried me as well to a certain extent. I'm like, is she gonna be able to really like Devin, sorry. Is she really gonna be able to like Devin, or will she really be able to connect with him because she's used to this bad boy type or whatever? So I'm just like, I will have to see in the later episodes to see what they're gonna give. But I don't know, I'm not very optimistic. I'm not very certain about them at all. Well, I just have to see. I just feel like Virginia, she just isn't giving much. I don't know if it's because I wasn't paying attention enough when they were talking, or the producers just didn't show enough scenes of them connecting, but I just was like confused as to what these sparks were that were apparently flying, but I just didn't see it like other sparks in the room with us. But yeah, that is basically all my thoughts, guys, on the current Love is Blind cast, what's going on, the past 5 episodes. That is my thoughts on everything. I'll probably watch the rest of the episodes that have just come out this week, so hopefully I'll be able to upload the video by the weekend. If not, then it will come next. That's basically it for what I think. If you guys like this video, make sure you like the video down below. Check my description as well for my other socials if you want to follow me on my other platforms. Subscribe, turn on your post notification bell as well so you don't miss an upload from me. Yeah, and if you have any other video ideas for me, things like that, let me know down below, guys. And yeah, I will see you, man, for my next video next time. Bye.